you can stop sharing. Our next speaker is our CEO, founder of Kannanware, and a mentor to many. He's a CA All India rank. He has a CA with the All India rank of 42, and he's a mentor to many, and we fondly call him as SK. So, well, SK, can you say I'm not able to see you on video?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure to learn from both of you. So, audience, it's up to you now. Let's please start posting your questions on the chat. Our speakers will take these questions and answer them accordingly.
Nishant, Shiva just sorted off. I just wanted to, you wanted to run the video, right? Let her just run for the sake of people. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shiva. Yeah, you're able to see that, Shiva. This is just a small video.
Yes, sir.
There's a reason behind we play the video for all. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Dev. So as Mr. Dev has written, so you guys can start typing your questions.
Your questions in the chat box, and we'll answer it accordingly.
Perfect.
Right. So as we wait for questions, right?
Yeah, Dev. Yeah, Dev.
What I want to basically start a conversation is, we have been seeing a lot of traction for customers who are running SAP ECC to move to S/4HANA. And the demand is like going through the roof currently. So our session here is to encourage people to follow a pattern, or or basically guide them as to how they can learn and get trained for the market opportunities that we have here, right?
Yeah.
So what are you seeing in the current market conditions in India for SAP FI professionals?
So in in general, the market is still very good. There's a lot of need for a quality concern. There's always a need for someone new, and also there's a need for quality. So as long as you're able to understand and express your basic qualities, right? Basic knowledge on finance, that takes you to places. And I even got a requirement for 3 to 5 years of public cloud requirements on finance, MMSD, for any module for that sake. And public cloud is really picking up like anything. So I have had even a conversation with the SAP India team. They've been saying that they're looking for real partners, real people who are confident enough to make provide good solutions. So we are working towards that, and the scope is really good. And even for cost wise, earlier there were people who were traveling outside, and even in India, nowadays the opportunities on the package, everything is on par with overseas. So it's really a right time for us to for anyone to pursue this opportunity. Deva.
Right. So
Shiva,
the
are
first
you sharing your screen, Shiva? You might have to stop your screen share. And Deva, I'm not able to see your video if you're sharing.
So I'm sharing my video. I'm on.
Oh, Nishant, are you able to see him? Or you?
Yeah, we are all able to see you, sir. See both
Okay.
of you.
So
fine, then. Perfect.
So the first question we have is from Sukh Singh, right? He says, what skills and challenges to become an SAP FI consultant? So I did ask what your background is, but typically speaking, what we see is that we are looking for people who have some technology skills, a little bit, but mostly functional skills. That's what's required. So typically, if you have any SAP, any finance background, then that becomes the real starting step for you to start learning SAP FI. Even if you do not have the finance background, you can join a proper course and basically get trained in finance and then start picking up SAP finance. But learning finance or understanding finance is the baseline that you need to have to basically get up to speed with SAP finance. And the thing is, if you say I don't understand what debit or credit is, that's not really going to get you very far. So you've got to have that basic knowledge. So Kannan, I know, want to talk a little bit about why finance knowledge is important, how you can gain the finance knowledge before we come to SAP?
Yeah, see, you're going to work. It's like you're going to work in the field, and you're going to talk to your the stakeholders are going to be core accountants, managers, CFOs, and they want to hear only the finance terms, and they don't want to hear anything on SAP terms, technological terms, right? So you have to be very careful on that. The first evaluation, let's say you've been put on a project, and the first evaluation always happens from the stakeholders asking you questions on, I want a cash flow report like this, and then I want to have a cash flow projections and working capital projections based on certain logics, which is very much applicable to them. If you can't understand these terms, and you will really be struggling to proceed further. So it's very, very important that first thing first, sharpen your basics, basic accounting skills. You have to be on your finger. Everything should be in your fingertip, and also remember, and it's never going to change. All you have to do is sharp 3 to 6 months of core effort will take you there. That is enough. You don't have to be a chartered accountant. As long as you know the basics, finance strong, that's going to take you places. Yeah, Deva.
Yeah, so Shuk says that he has 13 years of experience as an accountant. So that's a fantastic start, right?
Yeah.
So 13 years of experience in accounting is great. So now the question would be, how does he start learning SAP FI in a very structured manner? So
yeah, see, I would say I've seen two things I want to suggest, Deva. One is, although you have many years of accounting experience, you need to re-evaluate yourself on where do you stand, because certain people have been there in 13 years of accounting, but only in AP, only in AR, GL. So when you go to a consulting, right, you're going to represent the entire business. So you need to evaluate what level of depth knowledge you have, and then learn missing pieces of puzzle. So core FI and core CO has finance, GL, AR, AP, banking, and then in CO your cost center, profit center. These concepts are very simple, and it is never changes ever. So you have to ensure that just because you have so many years of experience doesn't mean that you're strong. You need to just reevaluate yourself. You can attend sessions, you can take some evaluation tests, and assess where do you stand, and then you just fill the gap in basic finance, and post which SAP, then the next thing is SAP end user, the business processes is very, very key for you to survive. So the first question they're going to ask is whether you know the subject. Second is going to be whether you know how to use that SAP business processes to deliver the basic accounting. So these two is going to be key. So then after the business processes, so you can have your own trial balance. There are many trial versions that SAPs are offering, which I would say Deva will explain a lot about. So with that, you can try yourself and then learn. There are many, even SAP has a official training sessions that they conduct. With that access, you can learn more. And after that, only you have to jump into the configuration skills. So in fact, earlier when SAP certification was started, there was a basic qualification criteria that you have to be from finance background. You should have been an account, end process, everything processed. So these three components: accounting, business process, and configuration. So you go in the same order, become strong, and obviously one day or the other you're going to crack it. Yeah, right. Devan.
Yeah, so that's great. So I think so I think you've got inputs here. So we will be covering a few more topics, and I'll share some screens and show you some more parts as well as we go forward in the chat, right? But the question is that you have to now go through a structured learning pattern to learn SAP FI, and ideally speaking, you got to do a course, which typically if you want to do finance course, full-time is about a 6-week course that you need to do, but over a part-time period, it could be up to a 6-month period they can cover. Basically, once you cover the course, you should go and try to get certified by SAP, because that will help you, put a stamp, and then start looking for end user company jobs where customers or companies always using finance are looking for people with finance background to run the finance systems. Typically, you go there, you work there for a year, you get your hands, dirty on the system and understand how a company where you're doing, finance, is able to use SAP, and then you start looking in for consulting jobs, because that's typically the route that I would recommend people to take, because that's the easiest route, especially with 13 years of experience. That will definitely help you. So the next question is from, I think, Nishant. And Nikhil. And Nikhil has been asking that he's completed his FICO course and he's a BCom graduate, but he's not finding any openers for freshers. So my question to you, Nikhil, is that if you are a BCom graduate, one is, and you've done a SAP FI course, which is good because BCom gives you a finance background, SAP FI course gives you that particular level as well. We now need to find out what are the gaps you have that we need to kind of start filling before you start getting a job. So, Kannan, do you want to pick up that question as to what would a fresh BCom graduate with FICO training do to get a job?
Yeah, see, there's a very simple difference between a fresher and the experienced. So there's always opening even for the fresher, but it's rare in the sense, for an experience, if there is an interview once in a month or twice a month, fresher is going to be quite reduced demand. So you have to be always on alert. And while you're waiting, I would definitely say that please be on top of your game, because every time you get the latest products released, like a couple of weeks ago, 2308 of public cloud got released. So if you have done a course from Hyderabad and you have to assess what you have studied, is it SEC, ECC or S4HANA? In S4HANA, what version you did? And now we are in 2308. So closely follow that and then assess yourself and be strong. LinkedIn is a very nice platform. You can be in touch there. Say that you're open to work. I've seen many people who have got opportunities from there. And even our career portal, you can see from Kannanware career portal, as and when we want freshers, we post, and many companies for that matter. It's quite tough, but it's not impossible. So you have to be always on alert. The interview is going to be like probably once in 2 months or 3 months. Whenever there is a demand spike, they're going to post that. So you have to be alert, and you can post on community forums and on LinkedIn. Be ready and try to attend interviews, connect with people like us, and see if you can be part of some interview evaluation, mock interviews, or things like that. So even we have a career guidance program, so you can explore that. And there is some even SAP has this some vendors. I'm not sure whether SAP is vendors or anyone. So they have a sample questions tool which you can evaluate yourself. Nikhil. Yeah, that's it, Deva.
Yeah. So, and I think that also covers Sai Arish's question as well, because Sai Arish has also had the same question. He's already certified and he has been sending his resumes to HR but not getting any calls. So again, Sai, when you are looking for jobs, you have to look at the job description and see, is there a job opening for freshers or for junior consultants? That's what you need to go in for. And then you say, hey, I'm already certified in SAP HANA, I think FICO, I would presume. You are SAP HANA 2020 certified in 2023, which is great. You have a BCom and MBA, so you have got a finance background that you need. Now the target would be to prepare for interviews and apply for jobs which have that particular requirement, that you need to have a BCom and MBA plus SAP FICO as your baseline and are certified in that. So that basically will help you get a job, because the main thing I've seen people is they don't target the jobs they want to apply. They just randomly apply for any job that they see without looking at what the criteria is. If the criteria says you need 3 to 5 years experience, obviously with fresh skills, you're not going to be even qualified to be called for interview, right? But there are plenty of jobs which are looking for graduates. We're looking for fresh talent who will join as junior consultants. So there are options. And also do not look and target only big companies or consulting companies. Target end user companies, because end user companies will take you because you are already trained. They don't have to spend money training you, right? And then that will get your base right, and you get the work experience that you need to then go and apply for more jobs, right? So my suggestion would be to choose the job that you want to apply for. Right, Kannan?
Yeah, perfect. I agree. And your profile seems to be very promising, right? This is what people like us, we want. And, compared to other profiles, let's say there's going to be definitely there's a lot of openings outside, right? But you have to search for it. The moment you search for it, and be very honest, I would say, don't say there are people I've seen, they just claim like they are 3 years, 2 years experienced, but they are not so, right? The moment you say that you're highly experienced and then you're less experienced, you're going to be falling out. So be honest with whatever you're certified, become MBA, your education will really help you. So wait for that moment, but be prepared. And if I see this kind of prima facie, I would definitely pay for this kind of a profile. Uh, and then the next stage is how do you crack the interview? So be strong, prepare yourself really well. All the best for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, Deva.
So I think what we will now do is go through, because I've seen some of the questions on the chat, right? So I think what I'm going to show you right now through will help everybody around the journey. So SAP Help is a good place to get started. It is not a structured way of learning, it's fairly unstructured. Now there are two things. If you go with unstructured way of learning, you need to have time with you, and then you can do as much unstructured learning as you can, but then it may or may not lead to the right results at a short period of time. You've all done a graduate course, you've all done an MBA. The reason you go and join a university or college is to follow a structured curriculum and then do the course, write an exam, get a certification. That's the standard process. So similarly for SAP, there's no shortcut. You have to follow a structured curriculum. There are 3 ways you can follow a structured curriculum. One is we can come to a webinar like this where we can guide you as to how to pick a structured curriculum and go with it. 2 is you can buy books and read, and you can see at back of me there are plenty of books around that some of which I have written as well, and some of which I keep reading all the time to understand what SAP does. And you got to spend money to buy books. There's nothing like, oh, can I just I do not know which book to buy. You have to find out which books are there, look at reviews, and pick up the right book for you. And the third thing is,
with respect to books, right? I just want to add, sorry to interrupt. Like Amazon Kindle, right? This was suggested by Mr. Nana, you must be aware. So he was suggesting me, his books are there in Amazon Kindle, some of the old books as well. So it's like you just buy a subscription on a monthly basis on this Amazon Kindle. You get options to use those books and then try out. And then if you really like, probably you can go for bigger books. Not every books are available in Kindle, but definitely some basic books which will help you learn are there in Amazon Kindle. It's very cost effective, affordable per month. Try out. There's very good books are there in Amazon Kindle. Yeah, Deva.
Yeah. So now as we go through it, and we'll put these links on the Slack as well, the help.sap.com link that you see. This basically helps you get through a complete curriculum. It says what does SAP ERP Finance, which is ECC Finance Consultant, needs to do. What does a consultant need to do to go to S4HANA if he already knows ECC? What do you need to do if you want to learn S4HANA financial accounting or group reporting? And there's just 4 courses, but then you also have controlling, which comes in, and a lot more other courses that come in. I just get a financial here, and then if I change the word to controlling, you'll get even more courses. So my idea would be, let's look at what does SAP Finance course look like. And if you click on a finance course, it includes, you have to do a proper financial overview, which is pretty much your MBA Finance 101, right? And that's about 40 hours, 8 to 40 hours of coursing to complete. Then you start off with business process and finance, and then go for, and there's a huge long, and it's a pretty long list, which then leads to a certification. And the certification is, if you really look through it, you are doing about 4 hours here, you're doing about 5 days of course, another 4 days of course, 5 days of course. It's like overall about 30 days of course material full time is what will lead you to become a certified FI consultant. But this gives you a structured way of what the course is. Now the question is, who can offer the course? The courses are typically delivered by SAP training institutes, or it is delivered through Learning Hub that you can get access to, or you can get the training through a lot of institutes as well that can guide you and train you. And I think the bigger challenge here is, okay, I've got my certification, I've gone and joined a training institute, I've learned it, I'm not getting a job, what next? That's where the coaching comes in, is what have you learned? Have you learned the latest release? Have you learned a release which is 2 years old or 5 years old? what is the gap there? And then just learning SAP is just not enough. You also have to then complement it with the fact is how do I take a existing business process of a customer and translate it into something in SAP, because that's the skill set that happens. It's not like a coding job where someone gives you a functional spec and you create it into a technical spec and code it. In finance, you have to understand the business process and then convert a business process into configuration that works in SAP. So Kannan, you want to add something there? Because this, I think, is something that nobody understands.
Yeah. See, what Deva was explaining, right? I mean, it's very, very vital information. And now people just think that if you just go pay for some institute, just you pay and then go for classes, they think that whatever they are learning in the class, in the session, is that it. But it is not so, right? Because it's a very bookish, and we are not taking you for some colleges. We are taking it for industry. So in industry, what we expect is how depth or how basics, how strong you are in basics. Like for example, the first thing that I ask him is, or any him or her on an interview is, what version have you worked in, right? What is the latest version in SAP? And if I am stuck in SAP, how do I find an answer if I am unable to configure, and if there is a business process requirement, and how do I configure? And if I don't know, how do you find an answer for it? This is what we ask in an interview, right? So this is not what people come up and then practiced, right? So they think that if you ask for P2P process like GR, PO, GR, invoice, and then payment, it's age old now. So you need to be so updated. What Deva is sharing is, it's a remarkable information and very easily and freely available. So all you have to do is just go through, study yourself. Don't just be like a traditional old learning where you just sit and someone says that this is ECC, log into SAP and then do. No, there are many things outside SAP. First thing that you have to do is understand these forums. Like, I'm not sure whether you're able to, how many times you guys have logged into SAP.com. Just SAP.com has so many insights and informations. If you go inside SAP.com in product section, there is financial management products, financial products. So that gives various reasons of why and what SAP is offering, what are the latest stuff. So you need to be conversant on it. Yeah, right, Deva. So
yeah, that's right. For example, if someone says, hey, I want to learn something, I want to learn a programming language. On what basis do you decide that you're going to learn programming language? You can say Python, but then you can get a book on Python, you get your laptop, install Python, start coding a Hello World program, then start doing Python programs. You need to go to different websites, GitHub, get ideas, keep building it until you master the knowledge, right? Then you go and give a certification exam and certify in Python. Now, because Python book is available, you have GitHub, you can download the materials, you can learn a lot on your own, but it's still a structured program will get you there faster than an unstructured learning. Specifically because of two reasons. Either you guys are already in college, or you've come out of college, you're looking for jobs, or you're in jobs. You do not have unlimited time to be doing unstructured learning. So my recommendation to everybody is follow a structured learning path, because that's the only one that will, in a very limited time, will give you a proper mechanism or a proper learning pattern. Same thing happens with with the different models of SAP. When you say I want to do SAP, this particular webinar is very much focused on finance, SAP FI, because SAP is so wide that if I want to have a 1 hour session and I want to cover all the topics, we will not even scratch the surface. So that's why we're going deep into one topic, right, Kannan? And
yeah, of course,
telling you that it's only for finance and understand how finance is. And I know there might be people on the call who are not finance experts, but once you see how we are teaching or getting you onto finance, you can use it for your modules. You can use it for the, doing BI. You can use it for using MM, PI, PO. Everything can be done through that, right? The next topic I want to cover is what are the free trainings available from SAP itself. They are very high level 1 trainings. Doing these trainings will not get you a job. But doing these trainings will keep you up to date on what is new and will keep you up to date on what's happening in the market in a very structured manner. So open.sap.com is the next site that you need to go through and look at all the courses they have. And they've got, if I look at the courses, they've got AI sustainability courses, and there are some master data courses and a bunch of other courses, which some of them are related to finance, Some of them are not, but these ones get you a badge, so you can actually have the badge shared on social media. People will know that you're actually learning, on constantly learning. They have some exams to give to get a badge. So there's some governance around it. So OpenSAP is definitely one place that you should go and do some basic courses to get familiar with what's new in SAP. Then next one that I want to talk about is the SAP Help portal. Everyone knows SAP Help. If you're not going there and not living there, then you're basically wasting your time, because you have the entire help document of SAP available for you. Now, obviously, this help document is not a training material. It is a how-to guide. It tells you how to do certain things, but it's not really training material. So if you are not familiar with SAP, starting with the help is not the best way. But when you're using SAP, you can go to help documents and you can find enough materials that you want to understand and deepen your knowledge. But just going there and looking at this document and reading it and mugging it up will not get you a job.
100%. I agree. That's what we really check, right? In an interview, when we ask someone, we just say the moment we ask what version and what is the latest version that is released and what kind of features, immediately they just jump in to say that I can configure company code, GL account, chart of accounts, and then account group. No, we don't want any machine, right? The configurator, the way the world is going, I think with AI, probably the configurations will be easily done by an AI. Probably, and not now at least. Maybe in the another 10 or 20 years.
It will, because
Yeah.
it's a standard feature. It can just understand how your company works and set up and do that. That's the basic 101. It's like saying, what can I do on a laptop? Oh, I can start my laptop. I can update my Windows. I can download, or I can use Office and Word and PowerPoint. Great. That is table stakes. Even a 6-year-old can do it, right? Exactly. What next? So if you say I can do company code, then just imagine that you are able to do a PowerPoint slide. That's where you are. Just unfortunately, that is the reality.
Just that copy, just what you're going to give is 100, 1,000, just the number, nothing else, right? So what you have to portray or prepare yourself is for consulting, not a configurator. A consultant, not a configurator. So understand the nuances on why they use, why it is required, why SAP, why it is in demand, and what is currently in need, what kind of accounting changes in the market, and that is driving the need at the moment in the IT industry. So that's very key. So make yourself, and also see, I'm just taking a few more minutes, Deva, just to add a few things. Like I initially highlighted that basic accounting is one component, and the second component is business process, and the third component is configuration, right? So when these three are like I would say a very important concept to become a consultant, there's also all other parameters, right? Without which you won't be successful. That is your communication, your consulting skills, your team bonding and teamwork skills, your attitude. These all plays a very major role. And if you really see, right, we have this concept of citizen developer. The basic things never change, which is the accounting, your consulting skills, your soft skills that include consulting, communication, and skills like that. That's the foundation. And on top of it is what you have this configuration, SAP configuration. The moment you are strong in accounting and business process and all other things, which is never going to change. It is your forte. Accounting was the same 100 years ago, and it's not going to change even 100 years after. It's going to be the same. So it's very easy. So whatever is easy is what you have to make sure that you grab it so soon, and then you can become strong there. And then the technologies are just a layer. It's just that you give life to it's just that you give life to those technologies. Now, if you ask me, I can work in SAP, I can work in Oracle, or we have done Zoho books, which we have implemented just without even knowing, because we know the basics. So that is very, very important. You can survive in any application, anything that is being introduced to you. Yeah, Deva.
Yeah, and then what I'm showing is a best practice explorer, which is on rapidrecipe.com, and I'm just going a little deep. We would not to scratch the surface, but go to accounts payable J60, accounts J15. These are the best practices of SAP. And if you click on it, it gives you enough details. I know I have to log in. I'm not logging in, but all of you can go and get a login on SAP, site.
I have a question here, Deva. Is this rapid.sap.com? Is this available for free for any person to log in and able to
I
see
would,
all these.
yeah. So I think if you log in, whatever is on a website, you should be able to log in and be able to see what this is all free material. But then there are certain things which are only available to customers and partners, which unless you're a customer partner, you would not be able to download all the configuration files, the JSON files that go with it. But what you can definitely do is go through understand what's here. For example, there's a process flow. You should be able to download a process flow. You should be able to understand what J60 is all about, right? By understanding the process, which country is relevant for, which details is going for. If I go and click on a process flow, it should open the process flow. You can see, and you can see the whole process flow behind it. So this is a good idea to understand at what level we are doing. We're no more at, oh, I can create account, I can create a business partner, but hey, how do I actually do a payment run? It explains the entire payment, and this is what is the bread and butter of a SAP consultant. You need to understand how this whole thing works, and this is just a diagram. You need to, and then these diagrams change based on customers, configuration. And once you have changed the diagrams, then you need to know what to do in SAP's configuration tool to go and modify it to even make it work. So this is definitely one more area to say, hey, I have to understand these best practices and get better and better at it. And there are so much materials available today, is unbelievable. When I started learning SAP and what finance I learned way back in 97 is still the same finance. It's the same transaction, the same tables, except that it was it was ERP 3.1F or 3.0F when I started. Yeah, when I started back then, and today it's S4 HANA 2022. But the framework is still the same. Java language in 25 years have not changed. If you know how to do Hello World Java 25 years ago, if you learn, you can still write the same Hello World in Java and it'll still work. Similarly, the same thing as SAP. The basics are always right. So segment to next question. I have done ECC. Can I do S4? Of course you can do S4. You just have to learn the bell delta and then you should be fine. But you have to do a delta training for that. And if you have not experienced in ECC and you want to go get an S4 job with an ECC training, difficult because there is a change and you need to learn what a delta is. And my recommendation is that if you're doing an ECC training, fine, because you're already doing the training, that's okay. But if you're going to start training or start a course, then talk to us, talk to Kannan, make sure that you're learning the S4 because S4 is the new world. S4 is the new version and you need to be on a new version because it's like, today everyone's using Windows 11 and Windows 12. Nobody cares about Windows 95. Frankly, I had Windows 95, we used Windows 95, but I don't really want to learn Windows 95 today when you have Windows, 11 right now, which is the latest version. So think about that. Think about how many customers are using ECC? Lots. But when you look at new opportunities and new jobs, you're looking at jobs in S4 rather than ECC because the customer who is trying to hire people are not hiring new people for ECC, they're hiring new people for S4. That's where the market is going today.
Yeah.
Right, Kannan?
Yeah, that another thing that I wanted to highlight is if you want to come inside to finance, the best way to start is forget about ECC because you're fresh. You need to just focus on the new ones because if you know the old ones, there's already thousands of people in the market who they can pick. Why should they pick you for ECC, right? Like now the world has moved to OTT platforms, and if you say that I know how to operate a DVD player. Right? Why will someone using a DVD player or a CD player still or a cassette player still you can watch movie, but it's an old era. No one is having that anymore. So it's as simple as that. So if you want to crack this, you need to be always always have to be stay updated and prove that you're updated, not just learning. You need to be functionally and fundamentally strong. That's very important. And there's so much of resources available in the web, like how they were said. It was really difficult back then, but everything is at your footstep. It's everything at your door. It's just that how you crack that, Deva.
And then yeah, and also the question now is structured because you do not have too much time. Today you have a lot of distractions, right? And I will come to some of the questions that people are having because right now I'm sharing my screen and not able to see the questions really. But my question here is that if you look at SAP learning.sap.com, they have got materials. Now this is for anyone who is a student. If you are a student in a university or a college, check if your university or college is part of SAP University Alliance. If you are part of the SAP University Alliance, you can go and create a user ID here using your college or university's email ID. You cannot do Gmail or Yahoo, it's not going to work. Once you have done that and it's authorized, you will get access to learning some student zone topics. And I'm going to show you something which is magical here. When I go through the student zone, there is certain courses here for students which are quite interesting, which are exclusively for students. And there is, according to me, and I was just trying to find it, there is a course on finance for 40 hours that you can click there and go through the whole course material from SAP for free. So this is specifically for students on finance, but if you're not a student, you still have a lot of course here. And if I go here and go to my learning journeys, there are about 47 courses. Most of them are very detailed courses, mostly in technology area that you can do on your own. And you can go and then pay SAP for a certification, get certified. You do not need a training institute for teaching you, but that's only very specific course. It's you go and get one course done. It doesn't get you a platform. It doesn't give you a career in SAP end to end. It just teaches you one module or two modules of one very specific thing. And this is pretty much technology driven. It's not functional driven. So for functional, you'll have to still look at a proper institute to guide you and do the courses, but just showing you that there is a possibility for your learning at SAP.com to go and get some learning done. Lastly, the last thing I want to talk to you about is Learning Hub, AC-based Learning Hub. Some of you working on companies, if you have a Learning Hub subscription, you can get access to all SAP courses. But even if you're a student or just employee who is trying to learn SAP, you can go and create a free account and you'll have access to some free courses. It's like Netflix or of Amazon Prime free account where you get some trailers, you get maybe 2 episodes free, and then the 3rd episode onwards you got to pay. So same thing here, but at least you get started with a couple of courses, see how it is, and then see whether it makes sense for you to continue on the learning SAP Learning Hub. SAP Learning Hub is very expensive. It's not for everybody, but I wanted to show you that there is a possibility of you to get some course materials on your own without being dependent on anybody. But again, SAP Learning Hub is a sea. It's like an ocean. You need someone to guide you as to what you want to do. Because if you're not guided, then you'll start multiple courses, you'll not finish anything, and at the end of 1 year, you've wasted your time, and you'll not get anywhere forward in your career. So what I've done is I've basically shown you multiple things. Just to summarize, I've shown you learninghub.sap.com, get a free account, see what's there. Look at learning.sap.com, mostly technical, see what's there. If you're a University Alliance member, you'll get some functional courses, which is great. Best practices get you some insights deep into SAP. SAP learning journeys will tell you what courses you need to do, and it's no shortcut. Like I said, it's 6 weeks full time. Typically part-time is a 6 months part-time course, doing 4 hours a day, every day for 6 months to get you to a certified level. And what do you need to do? You need to do courses. You need to have a system where you want to do the exercises, and exercises are very deep and detailed. And once you've done the exercises, you need to then do a project with the institute and make sure they're able to place you, because if they're not able to place you, there's no point going and trying to do a course. Because for me, the journey is you first have the basics of finance. From the finance basics, you learn SAP basics. Then you learn to do configure a system and learn all the configuration. Then you do a project work, and then you have guidance as to how to crack interviews, because most probably there'll be 100 people applying for a job. Why is that one? Why is you going to get selected? You will get selected because of 3 reasons. Reason number 1, you have the education background and very strong finance. You understand finance in and out. You understand SAP like nobody else understands, and in a very good holistic understanding, which is the course material, the books that you've read, the blogs that you've read, and understand what's new. Just not, oh, my course material was 2 years old. Great, but what is new? The delta, you need to be able to read the right blogs and get up to speed, because there's no point going and saying, oh, this was what I did in ECC or S4, whereas 2 years down the line, SAP has released new versions which are much more advanced, but you need to know what they do. You don't have to know exactly how to do, but you have to have an idea how to do it. So that's very important that you go complete all of that and get to the stage that you are able to use it. Community, SAP community is pretty big. You can go to open.sap.com, do courses. The blogs.sap.com has a lot of blogs, a lot of unstructured learning, good for people who have got good experience to keep learning what's new. But overall, help and all of that will really get you where you want to be. So for me, what I've done in the last 20 minutes was showed you some of the golden nuggets that you need to have, and just imagine if this is what we can give you in a 1 hour course or 1 hour webinar. Imagine what it can be done if you go through structured learning, which takes you 6 months. Just imagine how much value you're going to get out of it.
Perfect.
And then just compare yourself. Then I'm pretty sure this is not the first webinar you're attending. You might have attended other webinars before. Compare those webinars with what we're trying to tell you and figure out if what we're saying makes sense or it doesn't, because I'm pretty sure we are trying to get about, between both of us, we have about 50, 60 years of industry experience that we're bringing to you, right? As to how you should be, basically approaching an SAP job market, how you should be using your skills to learn and upskill into the SAP world.
Yeah. Deva, I have an interesting speaker, as I confirmed
Yes,
you
sure.
earlier. So he's a very nice candidate for the audience to relate. So his name is Mr. Karthik Devraj. I have a personal rapport with him for over 20 years, almost like 20 years, I guess. So Karthik, I leave it to you to introduce yourself. Karthik, over to you, Karthik.
Yes, and thanks. Hope everyone can able to hear me.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Karthik Devraj. I'm from Coimbatore. I was a BCom graduate. I finished my college back in 2003. I joined as an accounting payable officer in Sterlite Industries. So that's where my career started. So like Devraj was mentioning, we were in SAP 3.1H at the time when I started my SAP as a front-end user. So when I started my career, Senthamarai Kannan, he joined in Sterlite Industries as a cost controller. So he immediately can able to understand how SAP can able to support the business process rather than using SAP just as a tool. He can able to understand how SAPs can help to make the business decisions. And he changed his career from a cost controllers to an SAP consulting, to the SAP consulting. And he convinced me to change my career path as well as an accounting officer to SAP consulting. At that point, I was like in the same case like how you guys are now. So I didn't have any knowledge on how to do configuration. I didn't have any business rapport with any process or anything. So it's more like trying to understand what's happening around you. When you go for SAP projects, you just need to understand what is the requirement that business needs, how the business process is going to work, rather than trying to just see how SAP is going to work within this. SAP is an application that supports to make your decisions, and we need to see how we can able to utilize SAP to make those business decisions. So he encouraged me, even though I was accounts payable and American, he encouraged me to understand the end-to-end processes rather than just doing billing. So as accounts payable, my whole job for the 8 hours is to receive invoices from which I get from the stores people. Just need to book it in SAP, make payment on the due dates. So it's nothing more. But how that process is going to impact the full end-to-end process, he can able to correlate those information, and he conveyed me how critical that particular job that you're doing as a front-end user. So we also get SAP audit people who's coming in to discuss and understand the business processes. So those discussions would help you to understand the end-to-end processes than what you are focusing on a particular job that you are trying to do, right? So with the support from Senthamarai Kannan, I changed my career to SAP consultant. My first project is in Calcutta for a manufacturing industry. That's where you try to understand all the end-to-end processes, not just within the FI module, but with all the other modules that get integrated with finance. Right? So you'll have material management, you have sales and distribution, and if you have HR, all those integration, all those other modules will get integrated with finance. So when you start doing the full project implementation, you don't understand from the customization or configuration perspective. You need to understand what's the business processes, how business want to run their business, what kind of information they want to look into SAP. So all your discussions, everything will be more towards the business oriented topics than focusing on SAP. So when you try to learn.
So they were
Yeah.
sorry, Karthik. So what really what I think for the audience perspective, right? So when they most of them are from BCom, MBA Finance, and how was your journey from BCom to where you are now? So if you can, what all you did to be successful in this platform, and how and what was your ambition? How did you land up here, Karthik? If you can quickly summarize that, probably the audience can relate to it, Karthik.
Yeah, sure. Um, yeah, so when I started as an SAP consultant, I need to understand, I was trying to learn what's the end-to-end processes, what kind of SAP innovations that SAP is bringing in. So I always try to keep up with the latest technology that's happening in SAP, right? And the key other thing is to keep in connect with all the other businesses that you're going to work on. So with the support of Senthamarai Kannan, I changed from accounting payable officers to SAP consultant. And then when I started doing projects, I got to work with international clients like Honeywell and Diageo. So through those project exposures and the work that I could able to perform, I moved from India to Singapore. I worked in Singapore for 6 years with Diageo, where I can able to perform or understand the business processes that they do across the Southeast Asian markets, not just in Singapore, but in Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, China, Taiwan, and all those countries. What is their local requirements in each country to country? How these countries get variation from the legal requirement and the statutory requirements. When you start understanding those exposures, you expand your knowledge to say you're not just an SAP FICO consultant. You can able to understand the localizations that is required across the country. So you need to start learning those, and you need to start projecting it and make sure you keep building your network, which would help you in a long way as you grow. Right?
Perfect. So Karthik, you are
And
now in. So what are you? You are currently in
currently I'm in UK. Yeah.
UK,
So
right?
with
So
correct. So from Singapore, I moved to Barcelona. I'm a huge Barcelona fan in football, so I always wanted to be in Europe as well, and I got the opportunity to move to Barcelona to do a global template in Sanofi. It's a medical pharmacy. Again, it's not an exposure that I didn't had before, but once you move into pharma industry, you learn more about multiple industries. So now I have experience with retail industries, manufacturing industry, pharmaceutical, telecommunication, F&B. So all these multiple industry and sectors behaves a bit differently, but the core accounting principle is never going to change. Your business processes will change, and you need to see how SAP can fit the business processes to support the business decisions.
So how do you see, what is the difference do you see from the first time that you encountered it was SAP and now? Do you see what is the big difference? It's only the technology or the business, or what do you
The
see?
business processes will keep changing. The technology SAP is still the same. Like Devraj was mentioning, the tables are still exactly the same. It doesn't change much. Your SAP best practices will support the business to see how you can able to implement your business, but your business processes on company to company will change. You need to see how you can able to bring that SAP advantage into the business process orientation to support the business.
Okay, thank you, Karthik. See, guys, the reason why we brought Karthik is just to relate that a person, like I still remember I first encountered Karthik. He was, all he was doing is just MIRO. I hope you guys know this transaction, MIRO. He was just mastering that transaction more of the time. He just have to invoice and then give it to me for signing. Yeah, but I was always observing. There was always a special trait I could observe, that he was more analytical. Even that job, he was always trying his giving his heart in that job, and then he was very good. So that's when I moved out, when I was in SAP consulting, I really, his name was always buzzing to me, and then thought I should give him a try. And then I asked him, "Are you interested to come?" And then he agreed. And when there was an opening, we just brought him. And trust me, the market was same as it was before, and now it was always tough for a fresher to get an opportunity, right? But when the opportunity came, we think about people who you really collaborate with. Now, the reason why I'm highlighting that is, see, your peers, whomever you're working, even if you must be working as an accountant, try to be very honest with whatever you're doing, be very straightforward and do and deliver it properly. You never know where you're going to get that opportunity. Like how Dave said, connect with him. And the way I met Nishant and anyone for that matter, right? So whenever you interact with people like us, we understand, we observe your strength, and if there's any opportunity, obviously we will refer. It's mostly how you interact, how you network, how you sell yourself, and even in social media, you can share your posts, knowledge, and that will take you places. I met Karthik in Maytour 20 years ago, and now he's in UK, and he's in a very good position. He's a senior con at UK. It's a very, very nice journey. I am proud of, I'm happy to see him grow like this. And anyone from that become is still possible to achieve. So if you guys are thinking that there's no clear example, there's no opening for freshers, just look at him, and we will share his profile as well for you to connect. You can ask some questions. If he knows, he will be glad to. He agreed. Thank you for that, Karthik. He agreed to help us all out. So that is it in short. You can. He's a classic example of from BCom and to here, right? Deva is a very pioneer in this area. It's like a mentor for me. He's a very nice person. I've also learned many things from Deva, and myself, I'm a chartered accountant, so my path was quite straightforward. My first employment itself was an SAP finance consultant. Somehow I had a mix of IT and finance. So we focused whatever you do. You never know where the opportunities are going to come through, and that's what I wanted to highlight. Yeah, Deva, if you want to add some more thing about that.
No, I think this was it is a good coverage, and some of the clients that Karthik has been talking about, I've worked, even though we have never met each other, even though we are in the UK. SAP is a small world, and we keep bumping onto each other on the same projects. Just to give you a context, when I started my project way back, I did projects for multinational companies in SAP, and we implemented ECC. At that point in time, they moved from the legacy COBOL-based mainframes into SAP ECC or SAP ERP because of two reasons. One was Y2K, so they had to get off their mainframes, and that was one good reason to move out of a mainframe and come to ECC or ERP. And today I'm going back to the same clients implementing S4. So it is like a complete 20-year journey where you implement ECC, and then after 20 years you go back and you implement S4. And that's something that has happened to me with 3 different clients. So it's a repeatable pattern. And like I said, there is a lot of gap there in the industry. There are people who have the skills and have jobs, but there are also a lot of people who have the skills, but they are not able to get jobs because they're not prepared well. And Kannan and I, we try to do this webinar to show you the gaps and try to show you how you can, follow a structured pattern and basically learn. There's also one more question that I've seen being asked multiple times. How do I get access to a training server for learning, or how do I install SAP? First of all, you cannot install SAP. It's not a good idea to be pirating software at all. So I think you have to find the right way of learning SAP. There are 3 ways they introduced that give you a training system where you can go and do a proper course and learn. And typically, even if you go to Siemens or any of the SAP training institutes that SAP recommends, you do a 6-week course, you are given access to a server only to do the exercises, which are typically not enough, but that's what SAP gives you. During the class, you go in and you have the access to a server to do some of the configurations. And once you've done that, that's it. And then you write an exam and be ready. That's slightly very different from what we say. Hey, I'm doing something on Amazon. I open an account. I can use as long as I want. I can do programming. I can learn. Yes, but SAP is limited. But there are some trial accesses available from SAP itself. So SAP has an S4 HANA cloud trial that you guys can log in and try it out a little bit. PTP, there are trial accesses that you can try out and learn. But that will not get you much far because there are limited accesses. It is definitely some access, but it will definitely not get you a job by just getting a trial access or getting access to a server. You need to have a holistic approach. And when I mean by holistic approach is, I have my finance background. I know my finance in and out. Then I've done SAP finance courses properly with good material and understand the whole concept. I understand how to configure SAP. I know how to identify gaps. I know how to write a functional spec or a technical spec or a fit gap spec that a developer can pick up. That's the journey. Just doing a course will not teach you all of that, right? And then once you've done that, know which books to follow, know which blogs and to be reading to understand Delta knowledge, know what is happening on the cloud and the SaaS world and the PaaS world. Combine all of that, and then you become a holistic professional. It's a journey, and you continuously learn. I did my SAP 25 years back. I'm constantly learning. There's no end to learning. I'm always constantly learning, because if I don't, I'll be outdated, right?
Of course, Karthik. So of course, Deva. And Deva, one question, interesting question. This is a repeated question from my previous session as well. This is from Monali K. know about if it seems she has banking experience and what should be the best way to come into SAP Finance. Maybe I'm just sharing my thought, Deva, you can add on to it. See, there are many modules in SAP Finance, right? So because if you have a higher experience, the lower the experience is kind of easy, the higher the experience is kind of tough. So you have to target some critical and niche modules. Like for example, in FSCM, in SAP Finance, you have a financial supply chain management component where you have treasury and risk management, market module and related. I'm not able to recollect them. So those modules you can target, Monali, like bank connectivity, host-to-host banking. These things are quite picking up a lot nowadays because of this financial ecosystem that has grown like anything, right? So there's a lot of demand there because you are in banking. FSCM, mastering FSCM, not just the FICO. It's a very large pool. So if you can focus on very specific to that finance FSCM, that can help you out. FSCM is very niche and focused, and with banking, you can just say that you know the banking system, how it works, and then add into financial supply chain management on banking related things like DME, bank communication management, and things like that you can master, and then you can land upon an opportunity, Monali. Deva, if you have anything to add.
No. I don't have much to add. It's just that search for banking add-ons on SAP. There's lots of cloud-based banking add-ons. Stripe, for example, now has an add-on which is becoming very popular for any customer can connect with Stripe to do all the payment gateways. So look at the payment gateways. Look at vendor and customers when they get added to SAP. How do you prevent fraud from happening? Because there's always a man-in-the-middle attack where a vendor can give a personal bank details to get the money from the instead of going into company account. How do you prevent that? How do you do something to prevent those frauds from happening? There are lots of areas. So basically look out for jobs where customers are asking for people with banking experience to work in FI projects because they need the banking knowledge, and then they will work with their technical and finance experts to integrate the banking knowledge into the finance system. So that's one definitely area, Monali, that you can start exploring, right? There was also one question from Ahmad who says that he is a finance student and currently working in a company where they're implementing SAP. And if he can learn FICO, then he has an opportunity to work on FICO background. So I think, Ahmad, we've covered everything that you need to in this call. Hopefully it has been useful. If it is not, do reach out to one of us and we can still guide you, even more, as to how you can achieve it. But what we've shown the structure and how to follow, I think that'll basically help you understand. Is there any other question that came up that we haven't answered really? Yeah, there's that on the chat or on the call, maybe we still have on the time. Maybe we can just take one last question before we start wrapping up.
Yeah, I'm just
okay. Sukh Singh said, how do I decide which training is good? So Sukh Singh, I've just explained you all this journey, right? I've explained you the SAP learning journey. I've told you what it is. Now the question is, how do you learn? You go and figure out what is the FI background that you have and what you want to achieve with it. You want to go and is your company implementing SAP? Great. Then how do you help there? If they're having a consulting company helping them, just go in and say, hey, I know FI, I'll work with you guys and I'll help you, with SAP and learn on the job. That could be, a good way for you to do it if you're already in a company. But if a company is not implementing SAP and you're trying to find a job, my recommendation would be join a proper course which covers exactly what I said. It covers you FI, it covers you controlling, it gives you everything that you need to certify. My idea would be that once you complete a 6-week full-time course or a 6 months part-time course, you should be confidently able to go write the exam and pass and get certified. That is, you need to be in a position that you can get certified with. Also, does the course allow, I explain you how a project is run. Do it teach you how gaps are written? Do they teach you the latest S4 or teaching you old ECC? All those things need to be thought through. And once you've gone through the course, do they prepare you for interviews? Are you then able to, are they going to put you through interview panels? Are they going to get you a job through through connections. All of those really help you, because just getting a training will not really differentiate, because lots of people get trained, then who gets jobs? It's like saying that after you completed 12th, your only aim in life is to go into IIT, right? Pretty much. Then you don't get in IIT, you go to engineering college. Once you do engineering college, some people go for masters, some people go for jobs. If you're in a good engineering college, you have placements and everyone gets jobs. People who do not get jobs are people who are in engineering college that do not have placement. So for you, what is very important is there a placement from a company that's giving you a course? What is their background? How have they placed other people? How is it all working? That's very, very important for you to decide, because you've got 13 years of experience. You don't want to be going into playground and trying to figure out how to do things. You need to follow a structured pattern.
Yeah, and see, there's one question that's left there before. It's a related question. It's from Chandramohan PR. What are the standard reports in SAP FICO? I think your question should not be like, what are the standard reports in SAP Finance? What you should ask is like, what are the what business needs? What kind of reports business needs? And those reports, and out of which what is provided by SAP. That's the approach that you should always learn, because it's the business that drives the need for a software. If let's say tomorrow SAP says that I cannot provide all the reports that business wants, none of the business is going to use SAP. So learn in such a way that you understand the business and then come back. Again, standard reports in SAP, there's thousands of reports that is there, right? It depends on what modules and sub-components and things like that. You can go to information system, if it is in GUI information systems, that you can go and learn, check out each and every report. You need to have data to just see the report. And one important reason they were why we wanted to have this session continuously, and especially we had this talk shows right from first session was in Tamil, then was in Telugu, then was in Hindi, and then was in English. The main reason is there's a lot of misconception. There are many unknown factors that runs around. A lot of people think that if they go register in an institute, they'll get job, or if they register, they can learn. There are many. What industry wants is completely different than in the book. At least we wanted to help people to understand what is really needed and how you have to carve yourself. It's literally carving yourself so that the people who are in need of skills can pick up. So you can connect with Nishant and the team, whomever is part of the presentation team, Karthik, Devraj, Deva, myself, Nishant, Melvin, Siva, and all. We are all open to answer your questions. You can group to Kannanware. We also had designed a special course on financial accounting alone. But for now, we are all occupied on projects. We could not pursue that, but still, we are open to share. Like Deva is with so much of experience, is always willing to help people share. And I'm also feeling like it's a time for us to give back. So unless you ask, you will never know. And if you think, and I've at least seen many people in every session, Deva, what I've seen is they come and ask that I've registered, I've learned SAP, where can I get job? And what they learned, where they learned, if you ask some questions, they're just stuck there. So I think that was the main reason for us to share knowledge, share this information, that they are informed of how should they approach this puzzle, and then answer. Deva, over to you, Deva.
Yeah. So I know we are over time, but I want to wrap up slowly with 3 main points that I think everyone should take away from. So Veena Iyer is asking, I have SAP consultant, how important is certification? If you are on a job, you're happy. If you feel that you're going to get the next job without a certification, by all means, certification is not required. But certification is good to have even if you experience, because it just validates what you know. And you may have an SAP FI, SAP S4HANA FI certification. Then don't do FI certification. Just go and do S4HANA Cloud FI certification, just to show a different perspective to a job. And then you can go and tell your company, hey, I'm SAP FI, but I did this cloud certificate because if you as a company need to do a cloud project, you need to have certified people. Otherwise, you cannot do cloud projects. Same thing with Ariba. You need to be certified in a cloud product. Whereas on-premise, the certification is not a must. But as SAP goes to RISE and more RISE happens, SAP will mandate that if you're not a certified consultant, you cannot do projects. So getting certified and keeping it current, according to me, not very important for experienced people, but will become a requirement in the future. So get that learning pattern. Like AWS, Azure, they always say you need to be certified. So certification is good to have. So, having a certification is not bad. Then you've got Shiva Krishna was asked that I've worked on other ERPs like Genesis, Focus, and stuff. What modules will be suitable for implementation as a SME or a MSME industry? So I don't even know what its acronyms are, right?
I think, see, if you want to, I'll take up this, Deva, like Adapala, right? Siva Krishna Adapala. See, if you're strong in finance, as I said before, strong in finance, and if you're strong in the business process, it's a question of you will learn this very fast, right? It's very user friendly. Nowadays, the cloud version is what you should target, is for a cloud version. And the cloud versions are similar. The latest cloud versions are all similar in nature. And then you have various series of products like B1, S4HANA Cloud with product-based deliverables. So if you can get your hands on to the free trials, you will know where and what you have to go through, Siva Krishna. So it's all similar. It's only it's like the driving, right? If you want to drive a Merc or a Audi, it's just that you need to know the driving. The moment you know the driving, the rest all is just a small piece of delta that you need to master. All the best, Sai Krishna. The third one, do you?
Yeah. So get your LinkedIn profile up to date. Just saying, oh, I am a BCom or whatever it is. I've done a FI course. Nobody knows what you have done. Have one paragraph explaining what you've done in the course, because people know BCom, it's global standard. They know. I know that what you have done in BCom, but if someone is looking at your profile is from abroad, he'll not even know what a BCom is. So you've got to explain, oh, I've done BCom, which includes I've done finance, I've done accounting, blah blah blah. 2 lines of what you've done, assuming the person does not know nothing. Similarly, when you say I've done a course, you've got to give the course the name of the where you've done the course. What did the course content do? Did you get certified at the end of the course? That's important. See, there is a difference between a fresher who is just a fresher or a fresher who is prepared. My job here and Kannan's job here is to prepare you for the process. So make sure that your LinkedIn profile is up to date with every information that a interviewer will look at right up front, right? And then getting badges. If you've done badges of a few other badges, if you've done some finance course or you've done some SAP courses where you've earned badges like on Open SAP, put the badges on LinkedIn, because that shows the person, oh, this guy's constantly doing it. Oh, he's not doing just 2 things to get a job, but over the period of 1 year, is constantly be doing stuff. So if you're in college, university, keep learning and keep doing badges in regular intervals, not just one month before the interview, because that's not going to work. You have to build your portfolio over multiple years.
You never know when you'll never know when you'll be noticed. And in fact, see, after we started doing this, right, it was out of some a small session. I found out that there is lack of awareness, and we started this talk show now, Succeed with Kannan. Now with this itself, I'm getting a lot of leads, a lot of connects just because of this. Yeah. So when I'm able to get this, you will be able to get that job leads as well. So always be active on your subject, share knowledges, and then that'll really help. But just resonate what they were saying.
Right.
Yeah, they were.
So we have 10 minutes over time. So we maybe another 2 or 3 minutes and we should start wrapping up.
Yeah.
Again, Sai has asked about what are you looking for in an interview? What does an interviewer look for? So I think that's again very important. I think we've covered it, but that may be a good summary to close the meeting, right? What are people looking for when you're interviewing an FI?
Yeah. Do you want me to pick up?
No, you can pick up. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So see, it depends. Basically, it's a demand and supply, right? Let's say if I want a person who is an AP, and I'm going to ask you only on AP, right? Or if there is something on FSCM, I'm going to ask more on FSCM. Because nowadays, larger companies are going to ask you very specific needs, FSCM consultant or an AP or a GL, things like that. But if it is a smaller company, you may be asked about FI and CO. Now, the moment you call yourself FI and CO, right, you are strong in FI and CO, GL, AR, AP, banking, then on cost center, cost element, profit center, and the profitability analysis. I still remember one of my client was saying that if you are providing a consultant, if he claims that he's an FI and CO, I'm going to ask him product costing, profitability analysis in CO, and I'm going to ask him on asset accounting in FI. If he can't answer this, then he's not an FI CO. That's how he just point blank He was just point blank. He said that you can't claim that. If you are half aware of things, please do not put it. You can say that FI consultant. That should be fine. Whatever you are strong at, just mention that, and then it is very easy because we ourselves, like whenever we interview, we just see your CV first, and then we are going to ask questions only from your CV first. So do not put everything everything that is there in SAP and not that you are strong at. So first focus on even small things, mention that properly. It may take some time, but if you are going into an interview, you have a higher chance to crack that rather than just showing something which you're not aware of or not confident of. Because there are some times, it depends on the interviewer. He's going to ask or she's going to ask specifically the areas where you feel weak, and they're going to ask, start with what you've done, where you are, what have you learned, and then they're going to revolve around. So what you write in your CV is going to take you places. So make sure that you put what you know and honest as much as possible. Honest always, right? Yeah. So in a CV, so that is going to help you out. Deva, you want to add something?
Okay, so two other questions. One is Priyanka have said that that she is a fresher MBA finance and has got S4HANA, SAP S4HANA, training, but she's got an offer for a job with an Info ERP. And my recommendation to her is, if you're a fresher, don't have a job, you've got a job, just take it, because any experience is good. And Info is not a bad ERP. ERP's knowledge is generic. We have worked on ERPs without knowing what ERP does. So your SAP FI knowledge will definitely help Info, and I'm pretty sure in the company that you're joining, once they know that you know SAP FI, they might be able to place you in a FI project in the future. So do not lose hope and just join, and then keep working on it. And then someone did say, this is trying to address the elephant in the room, that the outside vendors are there for practice servers, and please connect with me through LinkedIn and I can give you references. First thing is, we should not encourage people giving illegal servers, because it is not right.
Yeah.
Specifically because there's a lot of intellectual property involved here, and you do not want to get a job and then people find out that you are using illegal software and you get thrown out of the company because of unethical practice. Is not the right way to do it. I have given you an option. You have an SAP site where SAP provides you trial servers. Use that. If you have to use a credit card, use it. If you can go to a restaurant and pay $1,000 to basically eat a proper lunch or dinner, you can afford to do that for SAP, right? But make sure it is a server which is licensed. Do not go for unlicensed server, because if you do learn from it, and in the interview process they ask how to get a server, you will not be able to say that, right? Because we all know that
Sorry,
and the servers are out of date. They will not give you all the features, and it will not really help you learn. So my recommendation is not to go in for hack servers, because that really does not complete that education journey that we are looking for you to complete.
Yeah, I completely agree that they were. Someone was asking, and then someone saying that there are servers that is available. They are all completely illegal, and we don't want to solicit that by any chance from Kannanware or from any individuals. Yeah, so please use these free trials. This is more than enough, and you can register for SAP courses. So there also you will get the learning up licenses. These are the best way to learn. There is also some official SAP things like from Atos and all. They provide the SAP access for training. So these are all fine, logical and legal. So please refrain from using the pirated softwares.
Yeah, and see, if you go in here, if you go into sap.com and go for S4HANA Cloud trial, start your trial, you give your email address, and you'll get in 14 days access. You've got 14 days. You just basically block your time, spend as much time as you want, and this should give you a very good idea. But once you start using it, you'll say, I can't do much without just a SAP system, because it doesn't really help me. So holistically, how do you do this, right? So like I said, I've given you so many links. I've given you stuff like Learning Hub. I've given you nuggets like learning.sap.com. I've given you the best practice here, right? I've given you the whole help.sap.com, opensap.com, blogs.sap.com, and then the free trial. What else do you want? I've given you such good quality links that probably nobody. It's not easy to get out anywhere. But now that the cat is out of the bag and you have this, focus on the proper mechanisms of doing it, right?
Yeah, Harish Kumar, for your question, yes, that's what Deva was sharing, the public trial edition trial version. You can use that. That 14 days should be enough, Harish.
And then there are also S4HANA systems that you can install on AWS and Azure, but you need to have a proper downloading mechanism, which most of you will not have. So you can't really go and download it. But typically speaking, there are really good servers available from SAP training or from proper institutes. They cost a lot, but then they actually teach you and give you the right access, which I think is more important.
Perfect.
All
Deva, I
right.
think we have to
Yeah.
wrap up, right?
Yeah.
It's already
So
15
I said,
minutes.
can you provide access to genuine access? I just said, I just gave you the link up there, right? The trial access is the most genuine thing that you can think of.
Yeah, and see, this is not going to be, we are going to continue probably in a couple of months. We are going to kickstart this as a series of sessions. You're always welcome to reach out to us, our team members, and Deva also to see. We're always there around to help. There are a lot of like-minded people who want to share knowledge and help. Please approach any of us to see how we can help. Yeah, Deva. That's it, Deva. I'm not sure. I'm not able to see your video, Deva. Others.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. So I think we have covered a lot. Again, if you have questions, there's Nishant on the who is there, who will be in touch with you with so you can keep asking questions and stuff. You can connect with me and as well as Kannan on LinkedIn, and we are always around to help. And yeah, let us know what you gained from this, whether this has been useful in terms of how we cover the session, because we are here to basically help you, guide you, and make sure that you're successful. Because if you learn and you know how to learn properly, you are the ones who will basically benefit rather than we. Our job here is to, as a community, get you kick started, so that you guys, can go in the right direction rather than just, trying to swim without knowing and how to swim, right? That doesn't help anybody, neither the SAP community nor you.
Perfect.
So Sai is asking how to know how does he differentiate between a genuine and pirated SAP HANA access. I've given the link twice. I'm not going to give it third time. That's the link. That is where you get the genuine SAP software. There's
Yeah,
no other.
rest
There's
all is
no
not.
other. I mean, and then there are institutes where you pay a lot of money. Pretty much Atos and Siemens, who are fully trained institutes, certified institutes by SAP, where you can go and learn. But again, you're not going to get an unlimited access there. You're only going to get access for a course. That's it. And again, believe me, getting an access to SAP is just 15 or 20% of your entire learning effort. Just saying, oh, I have access to SAP, I can work on SAP, will not make you an SAP consultant, and you will not get a job based on that. You will get a job based on what we told you today, the holistic approach. And if you see, showing you the system was the last thing I did, right? The access to a system, because it's only that much important the last 5 minutes. Your entire journey, you have to have the function knowledge. Without function knowledge, having a system access gets you nowhere. Then once you've got a functional knowledge, then you have all the materials that you need to learn, and you've got to certify. You can certify without accessing a system, but you should not. You should get a system and really not play with it, but then you have to have follow the proper process. And once you've done everything that Kannan have been telling you, you will be ready for a job. Okay, thanks everybody. I think let's start wrapping up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Over to you, Nishant.
yeah. So it was a very informative session, especially for the freshers of the year. Thank you so much, Mr. Devraj. It was a privilege to learn from you. And SK, it's always, I keep saying this, it's always a pleasure to learn from you. Thank you so much for giving your time, sir. Both of you. Your time means a lot to all the freshers who are coming. And to all the audience, do follow us on all our social media handles. We'll be posting all the latest trends in SAP. Follow us, and you can also reach out to us for any queries, anything regarding SAP will help you out. We'll link you through any contacts or references, whatever we can within our limits. Thank you so much, everyone. All the recordings will be uploaded in YouTube soon. So stay in touch. Soon we'll give you updates regarding the next season of the talk show. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
Deva.
you.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.